What's good, everybody? Back from the ashes, we rise again. MCTR, you are here kicking it with the Black Phoenix podcast. Another week, we still cooking. Appreciate y'all hanging out. TR, I know last week we did the Am I an Asshole? I have a version of my own.
Hey, go ahead. But before we do that, how did the Bucks do? Because I didn't see the game.
We're done. We like it for the look. I'm not on the. I'm very, very close to the fire Coach Bowles because in my eyes it's his fault. Both of our receivers are hurt.
Yeah,
and he's supposed to be this defensive guy, and our secondary just keeps getting torched year after year after year. He's had 3 years, man.
Yikes! Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It might be time for a new coach.
Yeah. Eagles put in work, so we good over here. So, yeah, tough luck.
Yeah, and the Commanders is on the rise though, so it ain't gonna be sweet for y'all either.
Yeah,
they got their quarterback.
Yeah, it's gonna be It may come down. I mean, ain't nobody worried about Dallas, but that division is definitely going to come down to the Commanders and the Eagles. But
yeah.
all right. Let's get to your Am I the Asshole?
All right, so you know a little bit about what I do for a living during the day. Long story short, I work with. I have to partner with our sales team quite a bit, and there is a woman on the sales team who is a very attractive woman. And she knows it, and she uses it to get whatever she wants.
Sheesh.
So and she's bringing that into work.
Mm-hmm.
So long story short, she tried to call me out about something that I wrote on one of our credit memos. We saw some risk, and I decided, no, you're not going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So she decided that she was more of a financial expert than me. So she pulled the financial statements. She CC'd the CEO, the CFO, the entire executive board, my director, and my peers. It tried to say that I incorrectly assessed financial risk for someone, right?
Wow.
So we got news this morning that this same review that I declined, they filed for bankruptcy that same morning. Now, I said that they weren't going to make it 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And that was being generous, but they only made it a week.
Yeah.
So now here's my question. When I go into work tomorrow and I have this meeting with her in front of all these executives, how hard should I stun on her?
Oh, stunt. Like I would have like, hey, you guys need to see the memo. You need to see what happened here. Like who was she trying to come after? I would just be stunned. Like, anybody got to say anything? Anybody got something to say? All right. Matter of fact, I want to raise, actually.
Yeah, and my CFO has a great sense of humor, by the way. So I was actually thinking I was going to start the call off by playing Ric Flair's theme in the background.
Yeah, actually, yes.
And then I would just eat to her like, I warned you this was going to happen, and I got the receipts right here. I'm thinking that's how I'm going to approach it. Because one thing I know, man, people always like to say that women don't have any power, but they do.
Oh yeah,
it's just are you using it for good, or are you using it to inspire, to manipulate? She was trying to manipulate, so she might need some of this smoke tomorrow morning.
So was this a person absent of color?
No, this is a snow bunny. She a white chick.
Yeah, absent of color.
Oh, you said absent of color. Yes, yeah. She's a melanoid deficient. Yes, she's white.
Yeah, so I say that because you will see stuff like that though, because when I work, corporate, and whenever these emails are flying, I mean, they tend to be people absent of color. I know I don't want to get all racist and everything, but the ones absent of color tend to, like, I know how to CC everybody. They put everybody on there.
You want to hear something crazy? Her first name is Karen. You can't make this stuff up. I promise you can't.
Is there like I would say find something there. Find a song talk about Karen, but I would definitely play either that Ric Flair song or that maybe Stone Cold, or I don't know, maybe in The Rock. I'll be doing all that stuff though. Like, hey, hold up, guys, or maybe update your Zoom background and put it like the Game of Thrones back there.
Something, yeah. She gonna have. I gotta at least take a shot because she
Yeah,
didn't have to she didn't have to approach that the way she did, but she gonna get some smoke tomorrow
yeah,
morning for sure.
especially when you're the expert and you know where, I mean, you know where the risk is, and you did your process, your evaluation, and whatever that is. Hopefully, nobody was like, "Hey, let me take a look into this," but or question you really. But as long as I would have some fun with it. I mean, obviously, you got to have gentle fun because then you go to HR like, "Hey, he was bullying
Yeah.
me." Oh,
Yep, there's
horrifying.
that. No
Anyway,
doubt.
yeah. That was a good one. So, yeah, we got a good show lined up for everybody, and it's going to be a bit political heavy, but we're gearing up. We're close to the election time, and there's so much crazy stuff that has come out of the Kamala camp. It's just beyond ridiculous. And hope you enjoy the show. And again, thank you for everyone that's watching, subscribing, leaving comments. It definitely keeps us motivated to do more things, do more videos.
No doubt. We appreciate it.
All right, let's come to the first block.
Shaquille O'Neal may have good intentions, y'all, but so many women have experienced an older man say that they look at them as a niece or they see them as a daughter, and out the same mouth will say, but your ass is fine, though. And Shaquille O'Neal is offended that people would even suggest that he looks at Angel Reese any way other than a daughter.
How many times have I told you I love you?
A lot.
Okay, so if a person knows me, it's like Shaq is Angel's mentor. He would never even cross that line with her.
Yeah.
Not other than that, first person to say that, get out. Like, are you what? Like, you pretending you love her? One, I do love her. I love her as a daughter.
Shaquille, with all due respect, if you really look at her like a daughter, what daddy says this to their daughter? Roll the clip.
Bro, imagine you.
I'm not imagining.
Let me finish. Imagine you in the same little shirt you had on at the Wild and Out show, Duncan. You know how many t-shirts you gonna sell, girls? You tripping.
Oh my
What?
God.
What?
Oh God.
The same little shirt you had on.
Okay. All right.
Duncan,
Bro.
Fact of the matter is, as a woman, so many of us hear the discomfort in Angel when she's saying, all right, basically, because it's creepy. She sees you as someone like a father, like an uncle. And it's creepy for her to hear you characterize her like that. Those little short ass shorts, no one wants to hear their daddy or uncle talking to them that way. And that's why it's questionable whether or not you see her that way, because you made her feel uncomfortable, clearly, because you were crossing a boundary as a quote unquote uncle or mentor.
All right. Shaq has got himself in some hot water with the feminists, the BG Magic folks, the pro blacks, and they're upset with Shaq. I understand there are some things that Shaq misspoke on, but was he wrong for what he said?
Clearly, the woman in that providing commentary in that video doesn't follow Shaq in any capacity, because
Sure.
Shaq be out here thotting. We just talked a couple weeks ago how he went to go see the Hawk Tour girl. So what are we doing here? Do we remember when he pulled up on the Home Depot chick that went viral?
Oh man, he was like, hey, what did he try to say? He was like, hey, fame is crazy or something. I forgot what he said, but come on, Shaq, he trying to slip in those DMs.
I don't want to fence set this. I'll start with Shaq. I don't understand why women don't want us to be honest with them, right?
Oh,
Shaq basically in a roundabout way said, you gonna get the support, and you gonna generate them sales because you selling sex a little bit. That's basically what he was saying.
Sure.
I didn't think he was hitting on her, and he's right. The Angel Reese is getting a lot of followers from guys because they find her to be attractive.
Yeah, hold on. Let me put this.
I'm gonna wreck it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, why are we pretending like that's not the case? Like that didn't factor into anything at all.
Yeah.
Look, and she sells sex. She complains about it, but she sells it at the same time.
Whoa. Do you have examples of this happening? Like when she's
how about every time they put the camera on her, and then you know that walk when you gotta make the cheeks wobble a little bit. And truthfully, she's always kind of showing off what she has. And that's her prerogative to do so, but you don't get offended when you present yourself a certain way. That's how people treat you.
Now, is she really showing it off though?
Look, I will pull a compilation, and I promise you I will share it before this night is over or next week or whatever of her just and I get it. Like women want to dress and hang around and walk around whoever the hell they want to, but I look at it like this. Shaq told you the truth. If you really love somebody, whether it's in a mentor capacity or something, the best thing you can do for them is tell them the truth.
Yeah.
Did he step out of line a little bit? I mean, if he's looking at her like a niece, I'm probably.
Well, he said daughter. He said daughter.
Oh, that makes it even worse. That probably shouldn't have took that approach, but there was some gems in what he was saying. It wasn't like he was just hitting on her and being a dog. He was telling her some real stuff. Like, this how you're going to improve your brand. Wear some shorts like that again. And we dudes, we gonna look. We ain't gonna say nothing crazy. Well, most of us with common sense won't say anything crazy to her, but we're gonna look.
Yeah, this is another case of you give the WNBA some advice, and I sent, and for the audience, we have a group chat that's going on, and I sent a message that the WNBA has about 7 coaches vacancies available. And there's a reason for that, because the WNBA is changing. The WNBA is not going to be listening to these activists anymore. The WNBA is trying to make the brand, is trying to grow the sport. They got a little bit of that money. Well, that TV contract money doesn't even kick in until next year. And that Caitlin Clark, I mean, I can promise you there's going to be a different level the way they handle Caitlin Clark next year. Once they get these old dinosaurs out of the league that are like just, slowing the league down, then it's done. Now, with Angel Reese, she wants to act like the whole being sexy and playing basketball, you can't do both. Yes, you can. Well, I can give you some examples where people are sexy and they're playing their sport, volleyball, women's volleyball, of course. And then even women's, I would say they're sexy, like some of the softball players. Like, I'm talking about the real sexy ones, not the the other teams. But there are plenty of teams or games or sports where the women can be sexy. And unfortunately for the WNBA league, they have not embraced that. And maybe they haven't had the players to do that now. But this new batch of players coming up, it's like somebody was like, we're about to make these like women good looking now. And so, or appealing to everyone's eye, because people have been watching this sport, and I know they do not want to sell the body, but they want to get it how they want to get it. Nope. You guys, you ain't making enough money. And if we keep letting you decide how the league's going to go, you're just going to fuck it up. So Angel Reese, she's on board. I mean, it's not like Angel Reese can make it happen, though. But in a way, she is kind of making it happen, though, because what I've been seeing from a lot of the women, like the, what's that girl's name? Kelsey Plum is her name? The mulatto or whatever. Yeah. So with her, a lot of them, they got all these, they started to wear different clothing. Like I've still haven't watched a full WNBA game, but I have seen, like, I follow the ESPN page, and the ESPN page was showing like, hey, this is the new fit. This is what they're walking into the game with. And Angel Reese, she would get a lot of likes. So whether she wants to say she doesn't want to dress a certain way, that's fine. But you sure are dressing the same way. You're dressing the way that Shaq is suggesting. And then if you made the shorts and the uniforms, I don't know if you make them tighter or whatever it is, you can end up like looking at different games. So there's nothing wrong with you're obviously like, you have a great physique, and you're going to get a lot of men that are looking into that physique. So she needs to like really embrace it instead of trying to put Shaq in a Me Too situation. And luckily for Shaq, he can't be canceled. Well, I mean, for the most part, he can't be canceled, but he needs to worry. And like, she needs to like, look, was he saying was wrong? No, it wasn't. How he delivered it, I still don't think he was wrong for how he delivered it. It was that whole daughter thing. I'm like, dude, just say stepdaughter or something. Like, don't say any of that other weirdo stuff, though, because people are not going to, that's what they had a real problem with, but they also have a problem with the truth as well, too.
Have you seen the shorts that she was wearing on Wild 'N Out, the ones that are in question?
Yeah.
I mean, literally half of her cheeks are hanging out the bottom. Like,
yes.
Why do you expect a full-grown, full-blooded heterosexual man to see an image like that? Just, I'm not going to look. I'm just going to look the other way. I don't understand why women do stuff like this.
Yeah.
And by the way, I just pulled up a compilation video. I just did a quick search on YouTube, and there's plenty of videos of women
we got
reaching for NBA players' meat, licking their lips in front of their wives. Like, I hate to say this, but there's some weirdos in this world. It just comes with the territory. You're a celebrity now.
Yeah.
You're going to get some attention, some wanted, some unwanted. You might just have to just deal with it. Or here's an idea. Maybe don't wear provocative stuff if you don't want that kind of attention.
That's true too. And
God forbid there be some accountability.
Yeah. I think for in Shaq, and what got lost in that conversation too was lowering the rims so they can dunk, which I don't know how I feel about that though, because they're not natural dunkers anyways. And so this will be like the early days of them dunking. So maybe there's a conversation there, but I don't think it'll like really bring in more people. I think if they start marketing their players better, and then also if they do want to wear, you know, clothes that are like in volleyball, you can elect to wear either the shorts or you can wear the pants. Well, usually most teams are wearing the shorts, but I think I've seen in, you know, college they do wear leggings or whatnot. But I know I know they were trying to stop people from like, don't sexualize. I'm like, look, the uniform, it is what it is. I don't know what y'all want us to do, but luckily the sport is so good, you actually look past all that too. So there's a conversation there. Like the WNBA, they have a couple good teams, but there's a reason why they got 7 opening coaching head spots.
And I'm one of those people that actually enjoys women's basketball. Like I said last episode, I didn't learn to do that until I started officiating high school basketball. But here's my question though. What responsibilities do you have as a man if you're mentoring a young woman? Because again, Shaq told her the truth. It sounded a little cringy, but I don't think it was out of pocket. And even though she was trying to change the subject, Shaq should have read that nonverbal signal, like, okay, she don't want to talk about this. But
yeah,
do you think a man can effectively be a mentor for a young woman while telling her the truth? That's the question that I wonder when I hear.
You can.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder, man. Sometimes I wonder.
You definitely cannot. And then if you try to do it on a public platform, they're going to come after you. The feminists are going to come at you, and the Simps are going to come after you. Like, there's no winning. And like I said, luckily for Shaq, he really can't be canceled because I don't think he has like he still has a TNT gig, but he really say anything out of pocket. And so people got to stop, you know, putting this cringe or this you know, like the weirdo vibes on Shaq because of what he said. Like, yeah, he probably shouldn't have said the daughter thing, but other than that, everything else was still spot on. And how else do you describe small shorts and playing basketball? I don't know how he's going to describe it, but the Wildin' Out people, she's comfortable wearing it there on the big stage on Wildin' Out, but she's not comfortable playing basketball in those shorts. And for some of these women, they're really good looking, but they're not gonna. The WA does not know how to market them, but everyone else knows how to market them. Like, that's the crazy part, because Angel Reese, she should have been asking Shaq about how to work on her inside game, but that's a different conversation. But you know, Angel Reese, you know, she goes viral for a lot of her picks. So there's something there. Same thing with Cameron Brink. Cameron Brink she got injured and she hasn't been playing basketball, but her Instagram stayed lit up, and I can tell you why it stayed lit up.
Look, I say this before and I say it again. I judge a tree by the fruit that it bears. I know Shaq has mentored a lot of athletes, male and female, and the only thing I've heard people say is Shaq has given me great advice on how to invest my money and not burn it all in the league. And Angel has said that before on other occasions as well. So that tells me, you know, he's a little horn dog, whatever, or a big horn dog, but he's doing his job as a mentor. There's always going to be these misunderstandings when men are dealing with women because we don't think the same. I think what Shaq actually said to her was very logical. Just some of the people who wrote these articles and made these videos got a little bit emotional about it, but Shaq told her the truth. If you didn't want to hear the truth, I don't know what to tell you.
Also, can we also talk about the level of access Angel Reese has to Shaq? I know they went to the same college, but I don't see any other players Shaq is coming out there to have a conversation with, and I'm not saying he has to, but if you got that level of access to Shaq, and Shaq is not hitting on you like that. I mean, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors, but if Shaq says, he doesn't, treat her, he's not gonna like sexualize her or something like that. I don't think it was sexualized. Like I said, I was just describing the uniform change. But if you got Shaq helping you and he's in your corner, and then you come out here and try to act like Shaq is being cringy or creepy, I don't know why Shaq even goes back on the show. Like Shaq probably doesn't care, but I don't know why he would go back on the show. I don't know why any other man would go back on the show, because now you have to be guarded because Angel Reese, and most guys understand like that. No, all right, chill. Like, let's go. We got to talk about something else. Like most guys get that, but again, he wasn't being cringy. Acknowledge like what he said, and then come with like, okay, so if we make a uniform change, I'm pretty sure we can do something like that. As far as lowering the basketball hoop, that's the conversation, because they already have a smaller basketball. I didn't even know that. I mean, it makes sense, but they have.
Well, that's always been the case. Women have always had smaller balls,
right? So I didn't even realize. Hey, pause real quick, but I didn't even realize that some of those, they've already made some of those changes. So why not lower the basketball? I mean, at least see how it goes. Maybe in preseason, because I'm not saying, again, I'm not saying I'm 100% on it, but I would like to see it. So maybe that will get me to watch the game. So crowd, or the if you're watching it, let us know what you would prefer, like lowering the basketball hoop or not, or keep it the way it is.
Or tell us why you love the WNBA or why you don't love the WNBA. I'm curious to hear about that.
All right, we are going to go to the next topic.
And predictable. It's why as women we think you're boring. Again, it's just another difference between us, not good or bad or right or wrong, just another difference between us as men and women. As women in general, we like chaos and drama and disruption of routine. That's what makes us feel alive and engaged in life. We abhor structure. As women, we abhor structure and routine because we want to do what we want to do, and we think it's boring to have that routine. Structure holds us accountable, and we don't want accountability. So we want to do what we want to do when we want to do it and thrive on that instability, because again, it makes us feel engaged and alive. Ergo, why we are attracted to bad boys, because they're chaotic. And we think that's exciting, and it adds drama and passion to our lives. In general, good men are steady and consistent and predictable. It's why as women, we think you're boring. Again, it's just another difference between us, not good or bad or right or wrong, just another difference between us as men and women. As women in general, we like chaos and drama and disruption of routine.
Is that the loop?
Yeah, I think you pretty much hit the end.
Okay.
So
hold on, let me switch it.
Yeah. Look, I realized a long time ago that women get bored faster than men do. It's evident. Take sports, for example. We could sit and watch a 3-hour football game, NBA playoff game. Just give me something to eat, something to drink. I'm going to post up in front of that TV. I'm going to have a good ass time. Mm-hmm. But this is where the compromises come in when you're dealing with the opposite sex, right? Because they're generally the ones that want to go out and do stuff. Look, I just went to an adult costume party last weekend where me and my wife dressed alike. I didn't initiate that, but I did it, to kind of make her happy, because she'll sit and watch football with me. She'll try to do things that I like. So you got to reciprocate that. But it becomes a challenge in long-term relationships, because we always talk about how women file for divorce the majority of the time. And it's generally them saying it's because they're not happy. But what they don't realize is men by nature are designed to chase their purpose and their destiny. And to achieve your purpose or your destiny, you have to be steady and consistent and reliable and all those things that, that persevere you to get to where you need to be. So this is one of those things where we have to acknowledge the differences and kind of balance it out. Now, there's the difference between I'm bored and I'm about to go hop on somebody else's meat, double pause. But look, you will never be on the same page in that regard. So we have to find that happy ground where we can exist, especially if you're seeking a long-term relationship with someone of the opposite sex.
Oh man, this is what I feel.
Warning, enemy nuke has been launched. Repeat, enemy nuke has been launched.
Yeah, fellas, y'all done. Like you might as well get on your villain arc and just stop caring. Like the mere fact, I just clicked out of that video,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure how many likes and comments were in there. But the mere fact that you can put something on there on the, Al Gore's internet, shout out to CGA for that verbiage. It's crazy. It's beyond belief. And some of the best relationships are probably going to be boring, and you don't have like a lot of crazy stuff that's happening. But boring. You know who loves boring? I can tell you who loves boring. Your kids. Your kids love boring. They know that mom and dad are going to be there. They know mom and dad has their back. They don't have to worry about, mom and dad yelling, or wake up one day, dad's on the couch. Dad is, in a, dad was here last night and he's gone. Your kids love boring. They don't want to, have disruption. And everybody tells me, you got to have like, a standard of living, and you don't want to have a lot of chaos with your kids. And what a lot of people will do is just keep, for the women that aren't married, like, I don't know how you can even have or not married, but they're single moms really. And having a guy, come in there every few months, every, 2 months or whatever the timeline is, that's just chaos for the kid. The kid has to figure out, all right, do I got to get this motherfucker a Father's Day gift or whatever? Like, what do I got to do here? And then, as those kids get older, they just start seeing the BS that mom doesn't know how to pick or dad doesn't know how to pick. And, they will tell you they want boring. They may not tell you when they're young they want boring, but they will tell you that, hey, I'm glad you guys are boring. And when you say good men are just boring, yeah, they don't even realize this is why the villain arc exists. This is why it happens. These guys figure out, like, I'm going to get done dirty, so I won't be the good guy. I won't put on my cape anymore, and I'm going to be out there in the streets. And I'm okay with like people doing whatever they want to do. People just need to be honest about it.
Yeah, don't shame women who think like this. You just kind of gotta just accept them for who they are. I tell people that I deal with all the time, some women are for play and some women are for stay.
Yeah.
If she doesn't view chilling at home watching a good movie on a Friday night as a fun experience, she more than likely want to run the streets. And I say let her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let the streets have her, because you're not going to change her, especially if she's anywhere close to my age. People close to my age are pretty much set in their ways.
Yep, we're gonna be out there wrecking her too. So yes.
But in most relationships do have some elements of boredom in them. Like 9 times out of 10, if I'm somewhere, probably gonna be with my family, I think it's kind of childish for people that are in long-term relationships plus have kids to still have that type of mentality. I get sometimes you're going to want to take some time for yourself and do some things for yourself. But if you're thinking like this all the time, why are you trying to start a family in the first place? Why not just be a free agent for the rest of your life? I think that's where we kind of fail as a society. A lot of these women keep saying they want to be wives, but they also have thoughts like this.
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be boring and I don't want to do this. Then don't do it. Go ahead and get your little rotation of your 3 different guys, because you got them anyway. We already know y'all having more sex than us. So why are we playing about this? If you want to get your cheeks clapped by somebody who don't make a whole lot of money, but he's piping you down and he provides no other benefits to your life, do you? I ain't judging you, but don't expect me to give you wifey treatment either.
Yeah, I think for most men, we know women probably have more sex, or they probably have like a wild sex life. But you gotta watch the CGA's channel, Coach Greg Adams, and he does a lot of breakdown on stuff like this. He has a lot of material, a lot of videos to show you what a lot of women are doing before they even turn 25. So they've already, gone through like all this sex, all the drugs, all the wild parties, and then they come for you like, hey, all right, I'm done, I'm ready, I'm ready, guys, show me my prints. And then these gumps come up. I mean, what's trending right now is this. I think it's, oh man, it's the corn star that got married. I want to say it might be Lana Rhodes or whatever. I don't know her name.
Somebody married her?
Yeah. Well, it's either her or somebody else. I'll try to see. We'll see if we can get an edit, get it in post. But the picture is on the right. It's the husband marrying the corn star, and then on the left, it's the corn star in a room and glazed over in a room of a lot of melanin gentlemen. Okay, so the comments were wild on that one. I left a comment on somebody's post that said she puts she puts Planned Parenthood to shame, like all the ghost babies she took. Like,
Imagine dropping her off at work and all of her coworkers know what she tastes like and what she feel like.
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day,
she swallowed Ted over there in the county, and then Bill in security penetrated some of her other holes that more than likely the husband ain't even touched yet.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing, and this is another thing too. So you know, for the husbands or the good guys out there, you could be doing everything right, except for, you know, giving her like this level of danger, or, you know, like making sure that she knows that she could lose you today or something. Like, and I'm not saying you got like every day you got to make her feel like she's going to lose you, but that stuff starts to build up over time, and then she starts talking to, you know, like you said, you know, bill in accounting, or the new security guard is like chattering up a little bit more. Like, this is what a lot of men have to, like, you know, worry about, because you could be doing everything right, but some dude, you know, that has access to your girlfriend or your wife at least 8 hours in the day. I mean, it's only a matter of time. And then she starts to realize, yeah, I want a bad boy, because at least with this guy, it's going to be interesting. At least the one at home who has to, you know, he's always tired, or he doesn't look at me the same way, doesn't compliment me that much. You know, he's a good guy. And they always say he's always a good guy before they, you know, file divorce. But, you know, again, if you got kids involved, then you need to, you know, figure out your shit. But if you don't have kids involved, then maybe you can go separate ways or something. But you're really wasting your time out there, because ain't nothing out in the streets except for Johnson and, you know, Johnson. So that's it. Heartache and Johnson.
So as a person who's married, right, this is why I go at no fault divorce the way I do, because we know that 60 to 70% of divorces are filed by women, and they generally don't give a reason. It's irreconcilable differences. That basically means I'm bored, I want to be out here again, and I'm probably going to take some of your assets when I leave. That's how I look at it. But my personal opinion, every time I won't say marriage, I'll just say a relationship, period. Every time it fails, somebody's at fault. Y'all didn't just wake up one day and say, yeah, let's just call it quits. Fact. Somebody did or said something, or maybe sexually they did not do something. Who knows? But somebody's at fault for something. I think this is a goofy roundabout, taking it back to the lady who just spoke. This is a goofy roundabout way that women avoid accountability when it comes to dealing with men.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, if you're bored with the guy that you're with, and that's literally the only issue that you have with him, that's an easy fix. Go do something. Go take a vacation. Go play pickleball. Go play sand volleyball. Do something. Go to the planetarium. There's tons of stuff to do. Like, that's an easy fix. You're just lazy. And this again goes back to what I'm saying. People in monogamous relationships tend to get lazy. Yes. We are the laziest SOBs, and then we have the audacity to go back out to the streets and complain about what's in the dating pool. Stop being lazy. If your guy is boring, tell him. And if he loves you, he gonna step up and he gonna do what he can to spark that fire. Like, why are we making stuff harder than it needs to be?
So here's the thing: like, if a woman is telling you, you know, whatever her grievances are, honestly, I feel like it doesn't matter, because it's going to be something else. Like, there's probably a small percentage of women that could probably deliver that message and it'd be heartfelt and it'll stop there. I don't think the majority of women can do that. And I think for most men, unless you're pretty secure in that relationship, you're probably going to crash out anyways. You're going to start thinking like, what, is there somebody else there, or who's making you talk like this, blah, blah, blah. There's going to be something like most guys aren't going to be able to handle that. And so, especially if you're like a guy that's doing everything right, or you believe you're doing everything right, especially like taking care of the family. But no, I feel like if you have those conversations, it's probably over. So just go find a divorce lawyer. Pro tip: talk to all the lawyers. That way she can't talk to the lawyers and she has to get a shit lawyer.
I think a lot of men are waking up though, because marriage is on the decline, period. A lot of men are just opting not to do it. Yep. And I look, stand on your square. Whatever your expectations are, only you know what's going to make you happy. And we're so used to hearing women tell us what they want. We need to get back to a point where guys is like, no, I demand this. And if you can't do this, then let's just figure this out now. Because if you can't do this, I don't want to be in a situation where I'm going to go find something elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? So look, man, we got some work to do. But when it comes to this topic of boredom, I think most of it is BS. And I think it's just an excuse for women to skate past accountability.
Oh yeah, 100% accountability. But this is the thing: even if you got a man that's out there, saying the opposite or saying maybe the same thing, that guy's getting demonetized. Like they're sending a hate towards that person, and it's unfortunate though because women need to. Well, it goes back to Shaq. Just telling them like, hey, here are the issue. Here's the real thing. The accountability. Women do not want to hear it unless a woman or a Derek Jackson is telling them, feeding them, pandering to them, lying to them. And that's why a lot of the women out there have this misguided idea like, hey, if you're bored, you should be happy. So go leave your marriage and find yourself. Well, you broke up your home and now you're trying to see what's on these streets. But the marriage is on a decline and it's because of women. So like the marriage, the no fault divorce.
That's a whole different conversation. But there's definitely some work that needs to be done. But if you are in a monogamous relationship, whether they be long-term or married, stop being lazy. Have some fun, get to the gym, go to the bedroom and clap some cheeks. Quit playing around.
Yes, clap cheeks. That solves everything.
At least temporarily.
All right, we're going to go to the next block.
More work to do in this country. But to anyone out there thinking about sitting out this election or voting for Donald Trump or a third-party candidate in protest because you're fed up, let me warn you, your rage does not exist in a vacuum.
Did she say rage? Your rage? Who's she talking about? Who's she talking to?
She talking to Red Pill. That's what she's talking to.
Did she say red pill or she said your rage? Because it sounds like she's talking to all men.
Look, earlier this year, the Biden and Harris administration put together a watch list. MTR was on that watch list. At one point, Kevin Samuels was on that watch list. Andrew Tate was on that watch list. The Dems have a problem with masculinity and they don't know how to address it. They literally argue the same way a childish woman does. They answer questions with questions. They do a lot of whataboutisms and a lot of sign language. That is all they got, and it is failing. And I don't know why they don't see this. And Michelle Obama, look, at one point, I was inspired by her. I'm not going to lie, but I started feeling a little differently about her when I heard in a recent interview where she talked about how she didn't like Barack for a very long time.
Oh, I remember that.
Imagine being married to somebody and bearing two of their children and you don't like them. Like, what the hell are we doing right now? I really, I don't know what was the gain from doing that. I really don't. And the fact that a lot of people were wanting her to run for president just a couple of years ago is just baffling to me. I'm over the Obamas at this point. I don't know why they pull them out. And truthfully, a lot of the men who are sitting on the couch, they're kind of doing you a favor because a lot of them want to vote for Trump, but they have hesitations with doing so. So they're kind of still showing you grace in a way because they're not voting against you. A lot of people that I've talked to is like, look, I'm either going to vote for Trump or I'm staying my ass home. And I actually talked to a group of people last week that said that they're going to leave that portion of their ballot blank. They're going to fill out everything else, but they're going to leave that portion blank. So they're still trying to find ways to do, quote unquote, the Dems a favor. But none of this stuff is working, man. This is getting stupid and ridiculous.
So before we get back to the rest of the clip, I was struggling with that too, where people that don't vote and are they going to leave it blank? And I think it's a big disservice though, because on one hand, and I'm just talking to the men on this one, on one hand, you have somebody that is pro-war, someone who's going to really hurt the economy. And so and on the other hand, you got somebody that, life was better under that person. And that is not pro-war, that has said will stop the war. And we have the body of work to kind of look at that. So for any man that's out there thinking that reproductive rights is at the top of the list, I just need you to do one thing. Go get a testosterone test and go to the doctor, get a damn testosterone test, get that checked out, see what the issue is, and then correct it. Because reproductive rights, I don't care if your mom doesn't, I mean, come on. We're only talking about people that are trying to have kids, and we're talking about extreme situations, but people want to make it like the mass. This stuff doesn't really apply to most people. Most men don't even have to worry about this. So reproductive rights shouldn't be at the top of the list. It shouldn't be in your top 5. Your ass going to war should be number 1, because they still have that on the books.
You know why it's not number 1 for them? Because they don't have to sign up for a selective service. It doesn't affect them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, there are some days I wish people would, I mean, if you really want people to like really understand this whole thing about the service and everything, like being drafted, change the verbiage to say where women will be drafted first before, and not men won't be drafted, only women will be drafted. And watch how they start shuffling. Watch what they start doing when it comes to like figuring out, like, figure out these laws, and also stop these wars. Yeah, they're okay with the men getting drafted and going over the overseas and getting blown up and everything. Like, hey, he was serving his country while you getting your cheeks clapped by some other dude that didn't serve the damn war.
Jody. Hey, check this out. I just posted an article. I guess since we're talking about deletions now, what percent of women in the United States do you think get deletions because of rape or non-consent incest?
Yeah, I know it's a small percentage, so I'm gonna say under 5.
It's 1%.
Yeah, see,
and that's their biggest argument for making this a top of the ballot issue. Is what about those people? You're talking about 1 freaking percent. And Trump has said on multiple occasions, I'm fine with it in those instances. Yeah. I just wanted to shut down Roe versus Wade so the states can deal with it.
Yeah.
Ohio has a liberal deletion policy, and Trump has said, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So I don't, we're doing all of this, and I suspect a lot of men are still voting blue because they don't want to lose the vagina that's in their life. They don't want to be alone.
Yeah.
And that's a very weak foundation for politics. You're essentially being led by a woman. And how does that work? How does that work?
It doesn't work. Those are the men getting divorced too. Those are the men that will find out the hard way when you don't have your household in order, and when you're not allowed to like say how you feel about certain things, like people, your house is going to fall, your kids are going to suffer, and your wife is going to be out of order, because at the end of the day, when she's looking for leadership, she's not going to look at you because she's telling you what to do. So
dude, I know women who are executives who walk all over their husbands, and they have told me on multiple occasions, I don't want that when I go home. And I get that at work, and now I'm getting that at home. So I don't respect you. Now I'm treating you like I'm your superior.
Yes.
Like, I don't get this, man.
I will say, and the Obamas, they have just been, Barack has just destroyed his legacy. I already had my problems with Barack once I took a real lens to like what he really did during his presidency. But this Barack coming out, like they tried this with Hillary Clinton, they tried this with Biden, and now they're doing with Kamala. Like they come out here and try to shame black men and then black men specifically, because I know she's talking about men in general. But when Barack Obama, like white people aren't thinking like, she ain't talking about me. She's talking about ninjas. Like she ain't talking about us. Like, but she's really talking about men. She's talking about your brothers. She's talking about your nephews. She's talking about your uncles, your dads. She's talking about all of them. But we're gonna get a little bit further in it. But when Brock said, you lucky Michelle ain't here. Well, Michelle's here, and Michelle is the one trying to tell. Like, this is the thing. When they go this route, they're just being divisive. They're just breaking up. This is part of the reason why a divorce is where it's at too, because of these politics. They are telling people that, hey, and I'm tipping my hand because this is going to come up in the video, but this is part of the reason why people feel so okay to go get a divorce, or why people don't even say husband or wife anymore. They say this partner crap. Like, no, husband and wife is a very respectable title. I would say that. I mean, I get married. You call me partner. Like, who? We law partners? Like, we got a business together? Like, I ain't doing that. No, not me.
Look,
I'm part of the old order. You simps coming out here saying you're a partner, we're partners, this partner, that. Let somebody break into your damn home. Who's going down there, partner?
look. Do you want to talk about the podcast stuff now or later with Trump and Kamala? Because I kind of want to pivot to it.
We still got that coming out.
All right, well, I'll save for later, but
we still got a lot on this one with the Michelle. She's sunning y'all.
Man, look, how it baffles me that so close to an election, they want to keep attacking their second most loyal political base. Just who does that? Who does that? And going back to what the Obamas have done for Black people, look, Muammar Gaddafi, Hillary and Obama have both taken credit for taking him down, basically.
Yes.
I would argue, if you've ever read the Green Book or you've ever listened to any of the policies that he wanted to enact, he wanted to put the entire continent of Africa on one single currency that was backed by the gold standard. Not even the US dollar is on the gold standard anymore. It's our paper here is based on faith. So I would argue that act alone probably was more detrimental to more melanated people than anything else I can think of. Like, I'm over this. I'm over these false hopes and promises, man. And I fell for the Obama hype, and I left back in 2010, man, because it turned into idol worship, and then it was time to, okay, you in office now, so let's talk about the stuff that we want. We couldn't agree on the stuff that we wanted. And everybody else is like, now's not the time. We need to be on our best behavior because there's a Black president in the White House, which doesn't solve anything. So just tuck my hands behind my back and just sit there and smile because we finally got a moral victory. I'm already a Husker fan. I don't want to do that again. Like, oh man, like this is
Husker fan.
Yeah, the Huskers fans. That's all we have are moral victories. That's how being an Obama supporter was to me. Like, I'm done with this.
Yeah. So, the funny thing about this, and this is something that was buried in the news cycle. I just found out about this. The Kamala Harris campaign actually had to come out and admit that the quote unquote plan for Black men is not just for Black men. And we broke that down. So if you guys missed that, just check a few videos. We broke that down by the points that she had brought up, the highlighted points. And now we were like, hey, this is kind of where Black Americans, then it says Black men or just Black people with the ancestry or whatever. And so we thought that was weird. We thought, like, this is, I mean, I didn't believe it in at all. But it come to the Kamala campaign had to come out and said, well, this is for all Americans. So it's not just for Black men. And so we have a campaign where they sent Michelle out to go after one more attempt to go after Black men and shame, men in general, because really I think she's talking about men in general. But I know some people are going to be like, well, she's talking about Black men, Michelle. But they're out here. They don't respect men, and they don't respect men to the point they don't think you're going to read, and so they don't think Black people are going to read. Or question question the plan. Like, yeah, this is definitely for Black men. Joy Reid got her ass up there with her Trump hairstyle, telling Black men, hey, Black men, you drive a hard bargain. Like, when they're lying to you when they start talking. That's how you know they're lying to you.
I said this before and I'll say it again. The Black American family is so decimated at this point that the Dems are asking Black women to speak on behalf of Black men, but we're not in a space right now where they can do that. I've said this before. And another thing, I lean a little bit more conservative, and obviously TR does too, but ultimately I understand this. And I've said this before as well. 95% of the problems that I have in my life are because of poor decisions that I made. So I say all that to say, no matter who's in office, you still have to do the work to save yourself. Now, I would argue that some candidates will make it easier than others for you to save yourself, but you have to do the work to save yourself. So if you're voting for somebody because you think that they're going to come and save you with some sort of stimulus or tax break, A, if they do that, it's not going to be much, and B, it's not going to save you from all of the debt that you put yourself in and all the fuckery that you had in your previous part of your life. So save yourself. We got to get to work. Start chasing your dreams. Start going after some goals that you had. Go get the bag. Like, it's easier than it's ever been to get a bag right now. Like, go get it.
Yeah. And we're doing a podcast, and we hope this can take off. But there are plenty of people out there doing the same damn thing. So you just got to just put in the effort. It started from a small conversation, and you can put the work out there, and hopefully you can grow it. It takes time, but over time you will get there. So
absolutely.
If we don't get this election right, your wife, your daughter, your mother, we as women will become collateral damage to your rage.
Look.
And for the folks out there, real quick, I have to stop this. A lot of times I'll play a video. I have to stop it because of, YouTube will flag it, because you got to have some type of creative change to it, or add there's a word they use actually. But this is egregious. This is, oh my God, this is goddamn egregious.
There was a point in that video where she basically instructed wives to vote against their husbands.
Oh, hold on. We're going to get there. We're going to get there.
Okay, because that's where I've really lost it. But I'll keep it here then. I'll keep it in the context. This is a dirty blow. This is a low blow.
Mess up, man.
Most men who are leading families understand that the happiness of their wives and kids means something.
Yeah.
And we're going to have that happiness regardless. That's a very weak argument. And how are they getting people excited for Kamala Harris? And we just tore apart the plan for Black men.
Yeah.
We called out the concerns with the tax credit for first-time business owners and first-time home buyers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can point out some things from the other side. Say what you want to about Trump, but the Republicans were really the only ones that were dealing with China as being an economic threat to the United States. Yep. They were the only ones who realized that ISIS was at the time, at least, the largest physical threat to the United States. Like, they were dealing with issues, and you know what? I'm giving away some of my points for when we talk about the podcast, but they're not answering any questions, man. It's really frustrating. It's just blame.
No, and the whole ISIS thing. Well, some of the things that the United States gets themselves into, or some of these when these countries have civil unrest, a lot of times because the United States stuck their nose in it. And we have to get away from these war type situations, supplying certain countries with like military equipment, or leaving military equipment. Shout out to Joe Biden when he left. What was that? It wasn't.
I think they had almost a $500 million in military equipment that was unaccounted for.
Right.
I didn't know what happened to it.
Where did they leave? I'm blanking on the name.
It was supposed to go to Ukraine, if I recall. I'm going to find it.
Where were they at? Where were they at when it happened? It was over in the Middle East. Because
I thought it was going to Ukraine, but I'll confirm.
Yeah, but a lot of service members lost their lives because of the terrible bailout that Biden orchestrated. Like,
you're talking about the Afghanistan withdrawal.
Yes, Afghanistan withdrawal. There we go. I don't know why I was blanking on that. But yeah, the Afghanistan withdrawal. But you lose what was it, $500 million in equipment? That's fine. Oh, we can just go buy new equipment, and then we'll keep that equipment, in circulation. Oh, Ukraine, hey, you need some equipment? Okay, here's this equipment we just purchased, we just acquired, that's been in service for a few years. Let's give it to you guys, and then we're going to get new equipment. There's going to be another war coming down the pipeline. There's always going to be, if you got these warmongers, and they're on both sides. So it's not like I just preach, just stick with the, the conservative side or Republican side. But we got to get these bad politicians out of the office, and then you have Michelle, who is preaching reproductive rights, which she's really talking about ghost babies. And so Michelle, who has actual kids, black kids, and then you have Barack, or not Barack, sorry, you have Kamala, who does not have black kids. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, they're pushing, reproductive rights, deleting ghost babies or deleting their babies, and then we have someone who actually has black kids. This is terrible messaging, and blaming men because we won't get in line, and we won't get on board. I can see why women are like, "Hey, I'm just going to divorce him because he's not a good man." Like, I can see why that stuff happens.
I honestly think I think what they really want is for deletion to be a method of birth control.
Yep.
Like we literally just gave the article that said only 1% of these are like non-consensual things. So we deal with the whole other 99%, and there's probably some other things in there that we're missing. But I think I can safely assess that most people are using this as a method of birth control, or it could be because their parents made them do it because they got pregnant pretty young, and the parents are like, "No, you're doing this." But still, that's a method of birth control.
Also, the people that fight the hardest, I shit you not, the people that have fought the hardest, they don't have kids, or they don't plan on having kids. That's why I don't understand. Or they can't have kids. People in their 40s and 50s talking about reproductive rights. Bitch, who getting you pregnant? What do you get? Nobody's. It was about my daughter. Okay, let your daughter talk, not you.
I talked about that when we were talking about Tracy Ellis Ross. I don't know why they had it in their ammunition to take shots at mothers. And it's not direct shots. They'll just say stuff like, "Well, we're just as motherly as they are." No, you're not.
Not even close.
You did not sacrifice as much as a mother does. And that could be a mother who carried or a mother who adopted someone. They both sacrificed quite a bit. And this is why they come at people like Harrison. What's his last name? The Chiefs kicker.
Oh, Harrison Butker.
They come at people like him who praise women who prioritize the family first. And I don't understand that, because honestly, that would solve so many of our problems if we went back to prioritizing our family. If the family is the most important thing to you, that's how you're going to build your economic wealth, because now you have two resources instead of one. It's going to create more stability, and it's going to reduce crime in your neighborhoods. And there's actually studies that show that nuclear families impact real estate values of homes. Like, there's so many different benefits to this. And I don't know. I empathize with women to a degree, because all of their lives, there's somebody telling them what to do, right? Your parents are telling you what to do. You finally get a little bit of freedom. And then the world is telling you that you got to follow a man's leadership. But I think that things are set up that way for a reason. I am a true believer in God, man, woman, child, because we can logically process things in a way that they can't. And we're seeing this time and time again. Like, we just talked about the 70% divorces, and we just talked about the getting bored easily and like being tired of stability and consistency. Like, who wants to follow that type of leadership?
Yeah.
And it does reflect on Kamala, because she switched positions on things just within the last year.
Yep.
Like, what are we doing here? Like, this is crazy. This is crazy.
Yeah. And the part of the reason with the Democrats, they've gone so far away from faith, or even talking about like Christianity, because I don't think I've even heard Kamala even say the word. I mean, even say God, or she was in the black church. I don't think she said God at any point. But you have her.
I've heard JD Vance say it plenty of times, though.
Yeah, and I've heard say plenty of times what sorority she's in. So these are the priorities that people like. Do you want someone that is going to make you, feel good, or you have like you can kind of have like be a part of an organization with, or do you want someone that's going to like make sure you're looking out for the country and give you the opportunities, and also get out of your way. Like, right now we have too much government. People like to think that, when it comes to being conservative, you want less government. No, we want a small government. Like, we still need government for certain things, but at the end of the day, we need less government, and we have too many people in the way, or people creating these little programs, these pet project programs, just so they can please their constituents, that have like terrible ramifications on a lot of citizens. And the illegal immigrant crisis is a great example of that.
Hey, let me correct something I said earlier real quick. So there were actually 2 instances where we lost $7 billion in military equipment was lost in Afghanistan in early 2022. And then there was another $1 billion worth of military equipment, according to AP News, that was lost in Ukraine earlier this year in January. So yeah.
And the 1 billion is just gone. And man, if people would just pay attention to the war. Like, I hope y'all got shares in some of these war stocks. I mean, we might as well just start discussing that. Just follow the money.
BlackRock.
Also, one more thing to point out here, that audience is with her. And it's just, I mean, it sounds very feminine. You got a lot of women in there that are just saying, yes, go girl. Yes. Queen energy.
So are you as men prepared to look into the eyes of the women and children you love and tell them that you supported this assault on our safety? And to the women listening, we have every right to demand that the men in our lives do better by us.
This is the second time she's told men to do better.
Have to use our voices to make these choices clear to the men that we love. Our lives are worth more than their anger and disappointment.
Wow. This is the thing, you know, for the people that got a problem either with the podcast or with myself, what do you say to stuff like this? This is like, she's straight up saying, let me pull this trick. She's straight up saying that, you know, if you don't do it, I mean, or she's demanding that women, like, hey, if they don't do it, then they are damaging you or they are hurting you. This is why we have this is the type of stuff this is why we have the terrible movies that we have, the terrible video games that we have. This is why you got to go to HR and watch like 100 videos over stupid stuff, because you have people like Michelle that are Michelle thinking like, hey, you know, if they don't do right by us, then they are a threat to our safety. That is fucking ridiculous. A threat to your safety, a threat to, you know, your body autonomy. That makes zero sense. Just for your right, so you can delete ghost babies. What are we talking about here? Because Michelle, there was no booze. People are just letting her just let that just fly. That speech was prepared. They just had this plan about how to get black men happy or excited about with Kamala. We knew it was just a joke, or we knew it was a scam. And then they came out and said, hey, you know, this is for all Americans. Like, we're men, black men specifically. This is the one time you have to make your voices heard. So I know we talked about sitting on the couch. No, there needs to be a strong effort, strong showing from men saying, no, we're not going to go with this anymore. You're not going to blame us because you don't get to delete your babies. Every state has a deletion law that allows up to a certain amount of weeks. Every state has it. There's no state that doesn't allow you don't do it. And if you do not like that law, then you need to vote the right people in, or the people that you want that are going to represent who you are, represent your community, your constituents, or your neighbors and whatnot. You need to vote them in. You don't need to be upset. Well, I want to be able to do this. You're a small percentage of the people that want that. This is why we have a democracy. We all vote on it. We vote the people in, and we vote on the laws. That's why it's so important to vote. So when you sit out, you are letting people know that, hey, I just don't like the candidates. No, you're asking either to go to war, or, you know, you think that baby deletion is top priority. You have to get up and do something. You have to take action, because here's what I want to see. And I'll toss it to you, MC. Here's what I want to see. I want to see a reduce turnout for Kamala when it comes to like people that are non-white, because that's all they've been running on is identity politics, and they've been trying to put everyone against each other. and they brought the final boss, the Michelle Obama. They brought her out to really shame black men or men in general.
And the queen of black women, Beyonce, they brought her out too.
Yeah. I would have played the Beyonce if Michelle wasn't more egregious than what Beyonce was talking about. Beyonce, who husband was cheating on her, well, allegedly cheating on her, but if you listen to the Lemonade album, you know what was going on. And who had her sister his slugging, trying to knock Jay-Z out. But whatever. Everybody moves past it. It is what it is. But you got Michelle here. This is bad. This is why I'll never return to the Democratic Party. Like this is I've never seen this egregious, this desperate, and this is only gonna go another level. Even though there's like a week left, this is gonna go another level.
So you know what they won't do, and they won't go sit in a room full of black men who have a lot of smoke for them. They'll just keep sitting back and blaming them in front of big groups of women and probably alphabet folks.
Yeah,
get the rallies and the cries, but they're not doing. Look, say what you want to about Trump events. They go everywhere. They talk to everybody.
Yeah. Mixed.
Walls and Harris are not doing that. It's shame, shame, shame. Women, get on these men. Man, I saw a video earlier today. A woman kicked her son out because he said he was thinking about voting for Trump.
Man,
18-year-old kid about to be homeless just because. I should have bought that video up to look at, but they're not doing the work to get these votes that they claim that they love so much. Go sit in a room full of black men who don't like you or who are undecided and see exactly what it is that they want. Because all they're doing right now is just talking to the people in their circle, your Roland Martins, your D.L. Hughley's. And these are all like rich celebrities who they don't have everyday experiences. That's number one. Number two, I find it quite odd that Michelle Obama kept talking about your wife and your daughter's safety.
Yes.
When you've been safely hiding behind Secret Service since 2008, 2009.
Talk about it.
Look, I'll tell you what safety looks like for a wife and daughter, because I've been in situations where I've had to protect my wife's safety. And she didn't like the way I approached it sometimes, but at the end of the day, she understood why I was doing what I was doing. Just like they don't have to worry about stuff like that. I've had to like break up fights in front of my wife. I've had to, she does our grocery shopping and she used to do it late on Friday nights. And I'm like, something happened where somebody was trying to test her when I wasn't around. And then something happened again where somebody tried to test her again in front of my daughter when I wasn't there. Yeah, and I'm like, no, you can't do this anymore. And that's the other thing. A lot of people don't understand what safety really looks like. And Michelle Obama is so out of touch with the average everyday person. She doesn't understand little nuances like that. And again, how is this a safety issue for women when we just said only 1% of these people? I don't get it. Now, I need to find a study to see how many of these deletions occur because of medical emergencies. But I guarantee you that's going to be minuscule as well. So where are you getting these points from? These are just emotional talking points with nothing to substantiate them.
Yeah. Speaking of safety, where's the safety for the folks that have been robbed and murdered by the illegals coming to the country? Where's that safety at?
Well, they want to defund law enforcement. So
yeah, but I don't know where the safety is.
Here's another one. Pew Research Center. What percent of deletions do you think occurred because of emergency medical reasons?
Man, it's got to be under 3%.
It is 3%.
Yeah.
So 1% because of non-consensual stuff, and another 3% for medical emergencies.
It's all
so in essence, that's 96%. What are those other 96%? And 40% of them are black women. What are they getting deletions for? I mean, that's HIPAA stuff. So I'll never know. But the only other reason that's out there is birth control. You're doing this because of birth control. You slept with somebody and you hoped you didn't get pregnant, even though you should always assume that's an ongoing risk. You got pregnant. You didn't want to carry his baby, and you wanted to get rid of it.
Yeah. And
like, what are we doing right now? This is the hill y'all want to stand on.
Yeah. And women today have so much protection because if some guy is harassing a woman at the gym or at the store, in most cases, there's going to be a woman coming out, or there's going to be a man that's going to simp enforce her, that's going to come out there and try to, stop it or whatever. They're just going to be there, and I'm okay with that because if somebody was trying to hurt my daughter or my mom or my sister, yeah, I would want somebody there. But at the end of the day, they don't want your help. they don't want our help because we're trying to tell them these things are bad for you. They're leading the country. They're going to destroy the country. Here's all the data. Here's all the facts. Nope. Joy. Orange man bad. Joy. You give them concrete evidence or proof. You can tell all the stories that I'm glad my husband was here. He saved my life, or he protected me. They don't care. I don't know why they don't care, because you would think you would care about your kids, the kids that are here, the kids that you would feel devastated if something happened to you. And then I got a real big problem for some of the men out there, because I know a lot of, I don't know if I'm easy or if I'm harsh, but when it comes to like men, like this is a testosterone test. Like I need to make a test. I need to make a shirt that says something like that. This is a testosterone test, because this should upset you. The mere fact that she's implying that you are hurting the women in your lives because you won't vote a certain way for a problem that's not really a problem. Milwaukee, even if I pull in Milwaukee, what are they voting for? They got the laws that they want. They have the most extreme. I believe they have the most extreme deletion law on the books. What are they voting for?
Even worse than California?
Yeah.
Even more extreme than...
They probably got the guideline from California. I'll say that. But when it comes to like what are they fighting for? They already have the rights. And California, even if they came down, like even if there was a federal thing, you think California is going to let that go? No, they will bankrupt the country to make sure that women will have the ability to delete their babies. Bankrupt their state to make sure they can give women the right to delete their babies.
I do think I should state where I stand on all of this. I do think that I stay out of deletion conversations for the most part, but this is our podcast, and we promised we would talk about everything on this podcast. That's number one. Number two, I've learned that if you have any type of deletion conversations with, most of the time with any woman, she's going to end up cussing you out. If you don't agree with what she says 100%, she's going to get emotional and she's going to start screaming at you.
Yeah.
But I'm really scratching my head on this, because we basically just said that 4%, we basically, with articles and evidence, said that 4% of all deletions in this country are medical emergencies or non-consensual things.
I don't care.
So
logic.
These other 96%, I'm sorry, I don't understand you. Yeah. And I think we spent way too much time talking about this when there's other impactful things we could be talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. And the one thing that Trump gets a lot of smoke for is that they're saying he's going to, enforce some, deletion ban or whatever. Trump has come out and said he has a moderate position, and he caught smoke for having a moderate position on that from the people that are voting for him, the people that believe in him. I had a problem with it. I know I'm probably like, I have.
Trump is a social liberal to me.
Well, no, we talked about it, not social liberal. There was another word we said.
No, I say social liberal. Yeah, I know you call it something else, but that's my opinion.
It's like a populist position. But he's a man of the people, and that's what the people want. That's what people are asking for. And we leave a lot of things to state already. But again, this is why we need that smaller government. Government needs to get out of the way. And for whatever reason, people are so fighting so hard to bring the government into their lives. It's crazy.
And we are more than just baby-making vessels. And if you are a woman who lives in a household of men that don't listen to you or value your opinion, just remember that your vote is a private matter. Regardless of the political views of your partner, you get to choose. You get to use your judgment. and cast your vote for yourself and the women in your life. Remember, women, standing up for what is best for us can make the difference in this election. So let us use our voices in these final days to make it plain to the men in our lives that we need to stand not with Trump, but with us.
You know what? I'm getting disgusted with this.
Yeah, I'm done with this.
The Obamas claim to be Christians, right? So there's a concept in Christianity called equally yoked.
Mhm.
For those of you that don't know what that means, I will tell you. It means you are united in faith, mind, heart, work, and well-being under the guidance of God. Why am I bringing this up now? Oh, if you want a reference point for that, it's 2 Corinthians chapter 6. Why am I bringing that up now? Because she basically just said, if you're with someone and y'all don't listen to each other and y'all don't respect each other and y'all are on different planes morally and politically, that's a hard stop for me. Because my first question is why? Why are you marrying someone who doesn't have the same family values as you? Your marriage is kind of a waste of time anyway. That's number one. Number two, what other evidence do you need that the Dems are anti-family? She's literally marketing women and men splitting and rebelling against each other.
Yeah.
What other evidence do you need?
Every man just needs to play this out. Why they're voting for Trump or why they're not voting for Kamala, just play this. Ask them, you think it's okay for her to be promoting divisive behavior in your own family unit, or saying, hey, it's a private thing. You do whatever you want. He's not going to know, none the wiser. Come on, man.
Yeah. This reminds me of, I'll protect the names because they probably don't want their business out there, but I'm familiar with a Christian woman who married a Muslim man. She had concerns when they had kids. She didn't want her kids to be Muslim, though. She wanted them to be Christian. Now, they got divorced, 2 sons. They got divorced. The oldest son came to her and said, I want to go live with dad and I want to practice Islam. And she was freaking out about that. I say all that to say, if you are not equally yoked, why? I don't get it. And now Michelle Obama is encouraging it. Break up the family. We just need these votes. If you got to break away from your husband and do things in private without talking to him about it, just do it. We don't need the family. We just need the votes.
Yep. And simply, you know, one of the crazy things. So part of the reason I'm voting for Trump, because he's going to do what's in the best interest of the country. She just said, line or vote with us. Like, what do we? Why would she even say, like, why would she even think that's even like an okay thing to say? Well, I mean, I know why she thinks she's okay to say, because they've been emboldened to say all these reckless things. It's open season on men in general. And I understand, like, there are some things that men do a lot that just get themselves in trouble. And if men really wanted to change the marriage laws, you would vote the right people in so they can change the marriage laws, or at least be a big advocates for it. Men don't want to do that. There are some things that men get themselves in trouble over. This is one of those things where if men, you let Kamala Harris get into office, you guys are done. I'm not going to be worried about it. You guys are done. You guys are going to be, you might as well sign up for the simp army. You might as well start letting your wife lead you by the fucking hand. You might as well start let her make all the decisions. And this isn't so much like, trying to figure out like, who needs to lead the family. At the end of the day, you are still protecting your family. Or if you are with a woman, like, I know you said this last week where, wait, maybe, did you say this? I don't know if you said this, where you let women drive, or you don't let your, maybe it wasn't you, that was somebody else actually. But I echo the same.
About driving?
Yeah, driving. Like, I rarely let a woman, like, if I'm in a relationship, I rarely let her drive. It's more of a safety issue for me. And I'm not saying she's a bad driver. My mom's actually a phenomenal driver. And because obviously she drove me everywhere. She's a phenomenal driver. But as I've gotten older, I never let anybody drive for me. I never let any woman drive for me. Especially, like, it's one thing if like it's a friend or something, and it's their vehicle, fine. I'm not your boyfriend, whatever. I was getting in the car. But when I am in the relationship with you, I am the one driving. And
Yeah.
that's more of a safety issue for me. And it's also like simul leadership too, because I don't need you freaking out if something goes down. I got this. I can handle this.
Yeah.
For a lot of
I
people,
didn't say that, but I completely understand that for sure.
yeah, yeah. And so when she says stuff that's like counter to keeping your family whole, and in the Black community, we already have a problem with family. What are you doing when you are saying that, hey, you need to do whatever you want, you need to do what's in the best interest of us? Like you're creating a divisive situation that is already like terrible now. Like people aren't even getting married today in the United States. And if you want a reason to not get married, and or at least where the Democrats stand on marriage, it's right there. It's like it's there in 4K. It's right there, and people don't want to acknowledge it. But you men, you got another thing coming. Like on some days, I'm like, I hope Kamala wins, just because I want to see you Mitch ass, you broke ass, you piece of POS. Let your fucking woman tell you how to do things. Weak ass ninjas. I want them to do it, because when it happens, you're gonna be like, what happened? How come men are being pushed out? Men don't have a voice because you let her get in the office. And we saw it in 2016. People showed up. Well, Black people showed up for Hillary, but we saw it in 2016, and there was actually, I don't remember hearing conversation about misogyny or things being sexist or bigoted. But for Kamala Harris, they throw in everything out there, all the sign language.
That's all they got, man.
Yep.
All they got.
All right. We're going to get to the last topic.
So I think this is interesting because I think traditional news is dying. And now we're seeing presidents go on podcasts and speak, and presidential candidates. Specifically, we know that Trump went on Joe Rogan, and we know that Kamala Harris went on Club Shay Shay. Mm-hmm. We also know that Kamala Harris went on the Feminists podcast. I think it's called Call Her Daddy. And I think Trump also went on Flagrant 2. And I kind of want to get your thoughts on all of these. So I'll start first with, I think we have the same kind of thoughts with the Shay Shay interview. I'm about halfway through it. I told myself if I watched it, I was going to take a shot every time she reflected an answer and directed it back to Donald Trump instead of actually talking about policy. But I was working when I was listening to it, and I can't be that drunk while I'm working.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I skipped out on that. I noticed they were killing her in the comments.
Oh, you know what?
I don't think I saw any positive comments when I was looking at that Shay Shay video. I don't know what you think about it.
So I think it's good that they go on these podcasts. I think that's a really, like, remember with Obama, one of the reasons that Obama won was because, what helped his campaign was because he was the first one to jump on social media. And I know some people have some problems with that, but, it is what it is. Like, he got to it first. He thought of it first. So that was a good thing. Now, fast forward to today, you have, president nominees going on these podcasts. If you're going to go on a podcast, it better have an audience, and it better have, like, I'm not saying you even need to have like a diverse audience, just whatever the audience is, you need to get in front of those people. Like they need to hear your message. They need to hear you talk, just hear you being human, really. And I saw the Joe Rogan. I watched both podcasts in entirety. And Joe Rogan is pretty calm. Full disclaimer, I actually don't even watch any Joe Rogan podcasts in the entirety. I watch just the clips every now and then. But Joe Rogan was a pretty strong podcast, and we know it was a strong podcast because YouTube had issues with Joe Rogan's podcast. But that clip itself, and that was like maybe, I want to say 2 hours or whatever it was, but that thing was at like almost 35 million within like 1 day or within 2 days, or 1 day, because I think it was 2 days. So it was 35. No, it was 1 day. Sorry. So it was 35 million views. This Kamala Harris one with Club Shay Shay, this thing is only like 681, which that is a lot. That has a lot of views. That's not more than the Cat Williams one. This one should have
outperformed that.
Yeah,
he definitely did.
This one should be over 1 million within the same day. And Trump is at 35 million. And looking at these comments, let me see if I can pull this up though. But yeah, they were not too kind, and I understand why they weren't kind to her. She's just not good
Look,
candidate.
there's a reason why Joe Rogan's podcast is the most listened to. And I know you said you don't listen to any full ones. I've been rocking with Joe Rogan's podcast for a while, and the reason why I like Joe Rogan is he doesn't show any bias. Like he'll call people out if they say something crazy or if they come on his show for a silly reason. But I've seen him give liberals and conservatives alike a platform to talk. I didn't even know who Bob Lazar was until I found out about Joe Rogan. And if you don't know who Bob Lazar is, I suggest you look into him because he's dropped some gems on Area 51. He used to work there. But those are the types of conversations that Joe has. And Joe is a comedian, but you can tell he does his research and he studies whoever he's talking to. So he's not just talking out of his ass when he's talking to these people. But here's the other thing. He extended the same invite to Kamala Harris, and she hasn't accepted it yet. I don't know what's up with that. When it's clearly, why would you not accept an invite for the most popular podcast? I think his is number 1 or number 2.
Yeah, it definitely speaks to the people she has around her, because if you get any type of invite, you make that happen with Joe Rogan. Like, regardless of how you think it's going to go, you make that happen, though, because if you don't go on there, then that's going to look really bad on your part, though, because if you have a problem with men or men supporters, well, they say they don't have a problem getting men supporters. I just saw Michelle just, go after men, but, whatever. But Joe Rogan has a way bigger podcast of men that tune in. Like, I don't know what it is for women, but I know a lot of men tune in to Joe Rogan. And Club Shay Shay, I mean, Shannon Sharp, he's doing his thing. He just don't have a big platform like Joe Rogan. But that podcast, I mean, this thing should have did, gangbuster numbers. And when you look at these comments, though, I mean, this guy was like, who else paused and ran straight to the comments? 6,000 likes.
Crazy.
He said, I think more people showed up for the comment section than the actual interview. Like, this is like a thing. This turned into a thing, and this can't be good for, Shannon Sharp got paid. So for the folks that did watch it, and I know you're still working through it, MC, but there were a lot of commercials in there. Joe Rogan got run commercials. Joe Rogan, I mean, there was a lot of forced commercials, because I know if you don't have like YouTube Premium, you won't see any commercials, but there were a lot of forced or hard-coded commercials in the video. I was like, damn, another commercial? Like, what are we doing here?
I'll tell you this. I don't have to watch an entire Kamala Harris interview to know how it's going to go.
Oh yeah.
I predetermined how this interview would go before I even hopped on it, and she did not disappoint.
Yeah.
From what I've seen so far, she hasn't answered any of her criticisms or questions. It's just, I'm the lesser of two evils. I'm better than Trump. And this interview was only an hour. I think Joe Rogan's was damn near 3 hours, and I listened to that one entirely. And like I said, I'll finish off Kamala's tomorrow morning. But they were talking about policy the entire time. I mean, he took his shots at the people that he didn't like, but Trump at least 3 times said, I'm not going to mention this person's name because I don't like them and I don't want to give them any more shine. He spent a lot of time talking about tariffs and how he essentially had China to the point where they wanted to start building factories in the United States because of some of the things that he was doing. And this is how look, when I hear Trump and JD Vance talk, it's policy. They answer questions. They answer
how they're going to do it.
Like, Rogan even brought up the Hitler thing and the General Lee thing that Trump allegedly said and he had respect for. Like, so it wasn't a sugar-coated interview, and that's probably another reason why Biden VP won't go on Rogan, is because the one thing about Joe Rogan is you can't tell him what questions he's going to ask you.
Oh yeah, he's going to do his thing.
Yeah, he's going to ask his questions. He has a very good research crew and team, and they're going to pull receipts.
Yeah,
like. Oh, and she's not. I don't think she's ready for stuff like that.
Yeah, and so you got Shannon Sharp just shucking and jiving for Kamala. Like, a lot of these questions were like loaded questions to her advantage, and she's not even answering the questions. Like, especially when they talked about Black people voting for what's going on here, and why are Black people voting? She really didn't even address it, and it's like, This is one of those things where they just missed the mark. They continue to miss the mark. I already know they're going to blame black men when it's was all said and done, but it is what it is. Like, we went through this in 2016, 2020, and it'll be 2024 and 2028. I'm sure it'll come up though. But this is a referendum on black men, or really, I want to say men in general though, because when they've already blamed white men, now they're blaming black men. So just because you won't vote the way that they want to vote. And when I look at these comments, I mean, a lot of them probably coming from men, but men have voting power here, and you have to like make sure you're not disrespecting, or at least you're letting them know like why they should vote for you. You got to earn the vote. And Kamala was talking about earning the vote of black men, but then they pulled that the plan for black people was just was a fake or scam program. And she had an opportunity to go on Joe Rogan, and I believe Joe Rogan would have been straight with her and let her just kind of talk, because he's had people on there that was like, bro, what are you talking about? He's had viral clips of people just saying silly things, and he just lets them cook, and he'll say, that don't make sense. What the hell are you talking about?
So he had the former before Elon bought X and changed it up. So he had the former content director on there, and she openly admitted that back then Twitter, as it was called, was purposely shadow banning and hiding conservative posts. She admitted it.
Yep.
And Joe, he went at her hard for that. And let me go back to the comments, because we talked about the comments on Club Shay Shay. If you look at the comments on Joe Rogan, most of them are calling out Google and YouTube for censorship.
Yes.
And like I told you right before we started recording, I tried to find this interview. I knew I had it saved in my watch later playlist on YouTube, but if you try to search it, you have to look really, really hard to find it. So, and it's just something as quick as Joe Rogan, Donald Trump. Like, it's not even on the first page. It's just people talking about the interview, but not the interview itself. Yeah. And they still managed to have this much traffic.
Yeah, what's funny about that? I was about to just pull it up so I can show the view count and show the comments. I haven't found it. I just JRE and Trump. That should be the first one there. But for whatever reason, I found the clips, but I haven't been able to find the actual interview. So this is the other thing too that a lot of folks don't understand. The Democrats are pro censorship. So when your favorite YouTuber gets, kicked off the platform or their accounts, this is why people don't go to get their news off of Facebook, IG, or any other platform other than X. X is like Elon, he lets everything goes. If you get super out of pocket, he'll say something, but for the most part, he lets everything go, lets everyone rock out. On YouTube, you definitely got color inside the lines. And if you get out of pocket, especially with this Trump, I don't know why YouTube is even shadow banning this. Like, this brings a whole nother issue. Like, Joe Rogan's one of your biggest creators on the platform, and you're shadow banning it because of the success it's gotten. Why are you guys interfering? You got people losing their mind because, what was it, the Washington Post, they didn't endorse Kamala and people were quitting. Like, what does it matter? Like, again, big tech and Mark Zuckerberg has already said that they were already interfering as well too. So again, this is why people have to make sure they're voting correctly and make sure that they're voting for the party that's not pro censorship. Like, if you care about the freedom of speech and stuff like that, then there's only one party that's been trying to censor people. That's only been happening on one side.
Yeah. And for substantiation, because we just accused YouTube of censorship and shadow banning, New York Post just 2 hours ago dropped that article supporting it as well. So take that for what it's worth if you want to rock with the Post or not. But also, I want to take this time to say that the Dems were pretty adamant at one point about censorship in the red pill community. And let me just explain red pill really quick. The premise of red pill is truth and masculinity. It doesn't have anything to do with oppressing women. It's about us getting back to being men and dealing with logic and reason and strength and just getting back to how we should be, as opposed to these low T, soy boy, beta males that everyone wants us to be. It's just the opposite of that. There's no one who's out here pushing any harm on any women or wanting to boss them around or tell them what to do. I consider myself to be slightly red pill. TR, I don't know if you feel the same, but for some reason, they seem to have a problem with men pushing back and questioning and saying, we're not down with what you guys are doing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just dirty politics, man. Like,
Yeah.
there's not a place for masculinity in the Democratic Party right now.
No, yeah, these are great examples of. I mean, you have all the evidence in the world to show that there's no place for men, and the men that you're supposed to that they are emulating masculinity in their party is Doug Pimphan Emhoff, who knocked up his nanny, and then Tim Walz. Like, come on, man. Like, I don't know why they think those are the people that they want to push the masculinity on. No, those are the men they want to run over on. But the men that they want to save them, it's men on the other side. It's 100%. The men that they want to clap cheeks, it's those men. So, pick what side you want, but you're picking Kamala, you're a dude, you got to get that testosterone check. I promise you get that testosterone check. Hey, I am low T. Figure it out, and you'll be like, oh, that's what they were talking about. Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, we got a lot of do better, Dems. Y'all suck with men. But you won't. You'll hide behind the women and the LGBT that support you, but you're not going to go and talk to the people who don't like you, and that's why you're not going to ever, at least not anytime soon. That's why the men are leaving y'all in massive drones. And we just found out today, Pink Book Lessons pulled the receipts on this. Black women are starting to abandon y'all too. So not all Black women are falling for y'all shenanigans. So y'all better pivot, better change your strategy up, because that sign language and that fear mongering, that ain't gonna work no more. Do better.
Oh yeah. So that is gonna wrap up this episode. Thanks for joining us. Any closing remarks, MC?
No, I think I just said mine, but go out here, be great, get your bag, chase your dreams, hit the gym, do your thing.
Facts. All right. See you later.
Peace.